you're getting a double hand wave today. I'm Johanna. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel, Me, My Dog and Books. Mostly because I talk about my dogs and books, and sometimes me. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and here. So this is, I take no credit because I've watched a good few amazing booktubers do the mid-year freak out tag. So I thought it's time for me to jump in and do that. If you hear any snoring, it's this little lady here, Lucy Lou. It's her time of day where she's like desperately needing to have a nap. So I am here to talk you through, I think it's 10 or 11 questions. I'll write them up in the description so you can have a nosy at the questions and give me some of your answers to the questions. I'd love to hear them. I have not prepared what any of the answers to these questions are, so bear with. As I'm going to just go straight in with the books. Actually, I better go and get the book that I know is the best book I've read so far. This is how prepared I am for the freak out tag. So this book, if you've watched any of my videos before, you may not be surprised to know that the best book that I've read so far in 2024 is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. Phenomenal story of sisterhood, the struggles with family, sister dynamic, grief. You've got 3 sisters, but 4 sisters. One it's a year on from her death, and the 3 other sisters have all gone in different trajectories with their lives. They live in different cities. They're dealing or not dealing with their own struggles, and it is such a powerful, stunning book. Absolutely adored it. I will literally read anything Coco Mellors writes. She's now an auto-buy author for me. So that's the best book that I've read so far. Yeah, for sure. The next question is, and sorry, I've got my notes here, so I'm just reading them. What's the best sequel you've read this year? Right, well, having just checked out Storygraph, I have realised that I've basically read one sequel, which is also kind of a standalone, but it is, you know, like when you have a crime thriller series, so in this one it's like an attorney who is the consistent one, and it's Survivor's Guilt by Robin Giggle. I first read By Way of Sorrow by Robin Giggle, and it's outstanding story of a transgender attorney representing a transgender sex worker who's accused of the murder of some powerful statesman like son, and unearths corruption. So this is the next one in the Erin McCabe story. It's called Survivor's Guilt. Really enjoyed it. It was 4 stars, and I feel like I'm not as by actually looking through my Goodreads and Storygraph, I'm kind of like, I clearly mostly read standalone books or books by the same author, but they're standalone novels. The only kind of series of books that I do really like and I've been getting into, but I've kind of accidentally read them in a bit of the wrong order, so I need to kind of sort that out. I've maybe read about 3 of his books, is Chris Carter's really dark thriller series. I read Crucifix Killer, Night Stalker, I think it was called, and then I read The Crucifix Killer because I got it at the charity shop and realised it was like number 8. But you could kind of read it as standalone, although there's so many in that series. I've discovered that you miss the development of, is it Robert Hunter, who's maybe the main character in that. So yeah, yes, so sequels and series of books aren't really my thing, clearly, as I've discovered. Question 3 is new releases that you haven't read yet that you want to get to. I would say it's probably one of the books I've got most recently, and I would say this one. It's Private Rights by Julia Armfield, who wrote Our Wives Under the Sea, which I enjoyed. It was weird, but and enjoyed it, but maybe not as much as everybody else. But this, but I did like the style of writing, so I'm quite excited to read this one. It is, I've got a sound one. There's no way to bury a body in earth which is flooded. In fact, it is a fact consigned to history along with almost everything else. So this one is, I'll just read some of the blurbs actually, because it's a sonorous portrayal of the family as a drowned world, a narrative voice so crystal cut with dry, affecting truths that every page guillotines you with its wisdom. Wow, wish I could write reviews like that. Paul Tremblay says, lyrical, haunting, unsettling, and J.G. Ballardian in apocalyptic scope. Julia Armfield's award-winning author and of the best-selling Our Wives Under the Sea returns with a dazzling exploration of queer love and loss in a drowning world, with shades of King Lear, which I know nothing about. This is a breathtaking and ambitious novel that deftly weaves together a fragile present and possible future that hovers just out of sight. So that's one that has just been released that I really want to get to. Most anticipated, no, question 4? Yes, question 4. The most anticipated release for the second half of the year. There's a Josh Mallerman coming out, but is it incidents around the house, right? I don't really know what it's about, but I actually have no idea if it's actually coming out this year in the UK. I think it's coming out in the US, but see, when I'm looking on independent retailers or like UK online, I'm not seeing it. So let me actually check. Stuff on Waterstones. Oh, Riley Sager, In the Middle of the Night, for sure. And I don't think John Mars has got another one, but I don't think it's coming out this year. I think it's coming out the start of next year. You're just seeing my forehead as I'm quickly looking at my laptop. It's a bit too close. I'm sure there's another one. There's a Grady Hendrix, but I had that in pre-order and I have since discovered it's moved to January next year. And for the life of me, I can't remember what it's called. But there's that one, for sure. Question number 5 is, what has been my biggest disappointment? The Future by Naomi Alderman. I don't even have the copy anymore because I donated it to my wee free library at work. I had such high hopes because I really loved her book, The Power. But no, I read it, even moved on to audio to see if that would help me. I'm not even sure what happened. So disappointing. I don't want to spend any more time on it. But don't take that as a reason not to check it out, because don't really take my word for it, because there must be readers out there that love it. It just wasn't me. Wasn't me. My biggest surprise of the year. Do you know what it'll be? My biggest surprise of the year is The Young Team by Graham Armstrong, and that is because I put off reading this for so long. Mainly because for a good number of years, or even longer, I wasn't really into reading Scottish books, because I like to read books about other places, and so, and this being so close to home, I was like, But my reading habits have changed over the last few years, and I picked this up this year and it was phenomenal. It is just so good. It is by Graham Armstrong, who lived this gang culture life in the kind of Lanarkshire, central Scotland, just outside Glasgow. Is young people in gang culture, their fear, their need for a sense of belonging. It's written in Lanarkshire Scots, so it's written in colloquial language, a bit like if anyone's ever read Trainspotting. It's full of despair, camaraderie, violence, but hope as well. It just blew me away. Question 7 is, who is my fave new author? Actually, it's probably Coco Mellors, because I really did enjoy Cleopatra and Frankenstein when it came out. A lot of people thought it was like 5-star. It was a solid 4 stars for me, so I really enjoyed it. But then she came out with Blue Sisters and literally blew me away, so she is now a fave author. I think that's my new fave author. I've got loads of other fave authors, but that's the newest one. So buy her books, or loan them from the back library, or like get them secondhand. Number 8, right, these questions I really struggle with, because I don't really get crushes on fictional characters. It's just not me. But it is like, number 8 is, who's your new fictional crush? I don't really have any, because like I don't get crushes. Like I always really struggle with these questions, because like this question, because I'm like, I don't really fancy anyone in books, to be honest. I'm kind of on that spectrum where I'm like, no, I don't read romance books. There'll be characters that I love, but not like crush on. Not applicable. Number 9 is your newest fave character, and I have to say, I would say I've got 2 new fave characters. One is Bonnie in Coco Mellors, Blue Sisters, and she was a boxer, but following devastating defeat has been working as a bouncer in LA until a reckless act one night threatens to drive her out of the city. She was one of my favourite characters in this book. And then in the Young Team, which I just showed you, which was my surprise book of the year, Azzy, and that he was just such a tormented but great character who you rooted for the whole time. I think you do that with Bonnie from Blue Sisters and Azzy from the Young Team. You kind of really rally behind them. You rally behind them. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. Now, I caveat this with, I rarely, if at all, cry at books. As someone with like an anxiety disorder, I take medication, so it kind of blunts your emotions, and so I don't really cry a lot. And so if a book or a film can make me cry, that's pretty epic. And the one like that I ended up doing a really emotional TikTok video about was Bad Habit by Alana S. Portero. I think this is translated from Spanish. It came out in May this year. Oh my god, it's the story of... Missy! Well, it wasn't going to be a BookTube video without one of the dogs barking, is it? Everybody calm down. Where was I? Yes, I'll give you the synopsis. So, an unnamed young trans woman grows up in a working class suburb that has no place for her. She discovers community and kinship in downtown Madrid amid a dazzling party scene animated by charming junkies, glamorous pop divas and fallen angels. With each step she takes forward in the city, she finds herself confronted by an antagonism she does not yet know how to encounter. In this thrilling and yet often frightening place, each decision can have the highest stakes, and yet she knows that only she can forge a path forward to the life she truly wants to live. Honestly, this story of this main character is just phenomenal. It's heartbreaking, yet it's hopeful because you feel elements of sisterhood and belonging. She's so struggling with trying to find her place in the world and her identity, and coming up right against transphobia. And I have to say I cried sad tears, but I also cried happy tears reading this. Outstanding. Up there with one of my favourite books of the year, I'd say. And then the last but not least question, the last question was books I want to read by the end of the year. That'll be all the books that are my 24 books to read in 2024. And any of the books that you pick on a monthly basis going forward for me to read the next month, those are the books I definitely want to read. So I did do a video at the start of the year which were 24 books to read in 2024. I have actually made progress in that. I have DNF some of those. That will be something that I kind of round up on at the end of the year. So those are the books that I want to read, as well as ones that aren't on it, which include 2 books that I got recently that I really want to read sooner rather than later, and that's Hey Zoe by Sarah Crossan, which is basically about this woman Dolores. She's in her mid-40s. She's relatively okay with her life. She seems to be getting on, you know, happy-ish, apart from with her relationship with her husband, where it feels really distant. She goes into a garage, discovers he has like some sort of AI sex doll, and Dolores sparks a relationship with the sex doll. Not a romantic one, I don't believe, but a friendship, which changes the course of her life. So this just sounds utterly fascinating, so I really want to get to that one. And then the other one is The Dictionary People by Sarah Ogilvie, which is, I think it was Simon and Savage Reads referenced it, and I can't remember if it was Mum Louise read it, but it sounded amazing. And it's the unsung heroes of who created the Oxford English Dictionary. And it says, what do 3 murderers, Karl Marx's daughter, a vegetarian vicar, have in common? They all helped create the Oxford English Dictionary. By the time it was finished in 1928, 414,825 entries had been crowdsourced from a surprising and diverse group of people, from archaeologists and astronomers to murderers, naturists, novelists, pornographers, queer couples, suffragists, vicars and vegetarians. Ogilvie reveals for the first time the full story of the making of one of the most famous books in the world, and celebrates to sparkling effect the extraordinary efforts of the Dictionary People. So those are ones I want to get to this year that aren't on my 24 books to read in 2024, or ones that you've selected so far that I should be reading and I'm not right now, but I shall, and I shall rectify that, my dear friends. I shall. So yes, tell me if you've got any, what are your answers to the questions? I'll put them in the description so you can have a look. Do we share any answers? Do any of my answers encourage you to read any of the books? I'd love to know what your answers for your mid-year. Where are you at? How many books have you read? It's not a numbers game. If you've read one book, you're a reader. And let me know. That there is my mid-year breakout reading tag. I hope you enjoy watching. Thanks for every comment, like, and for subscribing if you do, and if you don't already, please clicky. And I look forward to catching up with you again soon, maybe with more dogs in the next vlog. If you can hear squealing kids, it's the sounds of suburbia when the sun's out. It's the neighbours' kids. They're just jumping about in their trampoline. They have no idea that sometimes they feature from an audio point of view in my vlogs. Anyway, for now, and until next time, I'll see you saying goon. I'll see you saying goon? What even is that? Who am I? I can't even talk, and sometimes I can't even read. For now, until next time, I will see you again soon. Bye!